Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm prepping the top of this bumper cover off.
So you washing it?
I'm prepping it up for blending. So what we got here, if you look at it, like Minnie was just saying, it looks like soap.
Looks like you're soaping it up.
But it's really not soap. It is a super duper cleaning agent that is specifically designed for blending paint on an automobile. And we'll go right here, because it's going to get down there anyway. And then we'll come over here and get that edge. So what we got, let me go ahead and show you. This car was riddled with hail damage and we had to replace the hood. So it's got a brand new hood. We had some hail damage here, some over there. And then if you look at the roof, it had hail damage on the roof. So on the roof, we don't have to blend because we got glass on both sides, and then there's a rubber strip that's 1 inch wide in between the roof pillar and the roof. So we don't have to blend that because it'll blend itself in, having the rubber and the glass. But on the hood, painting a hood like this, it's pretty much mandatory you have to blend. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, I don't blend and blah, blah. That's bullshit. Every major collision shop, professional paint and body shop are going to blend the paint to match. Now, the way that you blend, if you come over here, you can see where I sanded this with 320. And then what we do is we take our Scotch-Brite with this product right here, and I'm not advertising for these people, this is just the product I have. There's 20 or 30 different variations and companies that make this stuff. And what this is a blending soap. It is a surface prep soap, and you can see where Minnie sanded that fender, and she should have wiped that off before it dries. We don't want that soap to dry on there. So you saw me do the front, so Minnie's already done that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a nice clean rag. I was going to dip some water on it, but we don't need to. Yeah, you don't want to leave this soapy scum on here. You want to get that off of there as soon as you're done. And I want to show you something when I wipe this up, and this is why you get rid of it immediately. Look at all that dirt. So you want to take that off and get it off of there. Now, if you look right here, look at this. This has got red pinstriping, and that's why this green tape is protecting that. So after I blend my paint, before I clear coat it, I'll pull this green tape off, and it will reveal this red, and then I'll clear coat over it. Now, you're probably looking at this and you're saying, well, hold on a minute, my friend Pete. How are you going to blend into that where you won't be able to have any tape lines on that front bumper? So what we're going to do, so it'll all blend in and we know what's going on, is we got another product called double-sided foam tape.
Or door aperture tape. Some places get fancy.
This is called soft edge foam masking tape. And what this is, it's a 3M product, and you can see it's foam. And on one side of it is sticky. We're going to go ahead and tear this off right here. So the way that you apply this, the way I do, is we're going to go ahead and take this off. We'll get it started. And then we're going to go ahead and take our foam tape. We're going to go down here like this, and we're going to come around just like that. Do you see how I did that? Tear it off there. And I'll do the same thing here, like this. I'm going to come down here. And then we're going to come across right here on this body line. And you always want to find yourself the sharpest body lines you can find when you do this. Just like that. And then what we do, we take our 2-inch tape, and then this is what's going to hold that down. See? Just like this. And that'll hold that foam tape down for us. so it won't blow off, see? Just like that. And then that way what we're doing is we're going to start taping our car off for paint. You see what I'm saying? Okay. And then looky here. Do you see how that looks now? It looks like we sanded that with 1500 or maybe 320. And this is ready for painting. So we're going to paint the hood and then we'll blend the paint. We're not going to go like this with our spray gun. We're just going to bring it like this, straight across. And as I'm painting that, I'm going to pull up on it.
So it's just going to dust.
It's going to dust the paint, smoke it in. And then when I go to clear coat it, okay, I'll probably go about right to here with the smoke, the dust, because it's going to go like this, like I said. And then when I clear coat it, I'll bring the clear coat way down here, see? Like that. So on the paint, we're going to bring it like this, where it just smokes it, and then on the clear, we'll bring it like this, where it hits this edge and then goes down here. So don't let anybody fool you about not blending. Very, very few people in the world can match this paint 100%, okay?
Or any paint, any color, period.
Well, that's what I'm saying, any color.
Yeah, well, you said this paint, so people are
okay,
think
well,
you're talking
any
about
color,
this color.
it's, you know, and like I said, I get lucky sometimes. The last 2 or 3 collision jobs I did, I didn't have to blend anything. The paint matched great. I had, you know, it was a bumper cover and a hood and a fender or whatever. I didn't have to blend and out the door. But you always got them situations where you have to blend. So don't let anybody tell you, if you blend, you don't know what you're doing. That's bullshit.
And it's also not,
if you blend, that means you're a professional and you do know what you're doing.
it's also not just paint with metallic in it. Solid colored paints also will not match.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
So always remember this product, and it doesn't have to be this brand, this scuff stuff here.
There's plenty of soap on that one that I'm using already.
And look what I'm doing. That's all the soap it takes for that fender. That's it right there. The way you use this, you rub it on your gray Scotch-Brite, not a red, and dip it in the water because you don't want to use a lot of water. And then you come over here like this, and I think Minnie's already started this.
I started it.
And you just wash it down real nicely, just like this, making sure to get every single area of the fender. Even where I sand it, I'm getting the top of it. Another thing I do when I'm done on a fender, I'll take my Scotch-Brite and I'll get in here with it while it's wet. Do you know why that is, Minnie?
So tape will
So the
stick.
tape will stick. And then we take this right here and we wipe that off. And you don't use a lot of water. And then there we go, look at that. Okay, this job is ready to blend. We are now ready to finish off our tape job all the way around everything. We're going to use paper all the way around all the edges, and then plastic around the rest. And it's going to be a done deal. So we have a piece of tape fall off right here. I'll have to put that back on. All right, there you go. The blend job's ready to paint.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
All right, now that we have got our car taped off, it's time to go ahead and start painting it and blending. Now, I hope you liked part 1 of this, and I hope it wasn't too boring, but it's very important to let everybody know, including the customer out there, that blending is a necessity. One more thing I'd like to mention, I do not use tack rags. I don't use tack cloths that have the wax in them and they're real tacky. I do not agree with those. I don't like them. Those are made for furniture restoration and house painting, and they are not even designed to use for automotive use. I use a white ball, wax and grease remover, let it dry. I come back and I wipe it down again to get all the residue and the scum off. Now, one thing I want to do before we start painting this, if you look real close over there and over here, we have body work on these fenders. So the top of these fenders have to be painted anyway. But if you look right here, there's no body work where we're going to blend in. So what I want to do is I want to take some paper, and this is for any adjoining panel that might be present where we are going to blend into. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take this panel off while I apply my 2 full wet coats of paint. Now we are going to go ahead and put 3 full wet coats. So on the last coat, I will pull this off, and on the last coat I will blow the paint in there just like that, where it'll blend in. And then, once that's done, we can go ahead and clear coat the whole thing. And we are now ready to go ahead and apply our paint. Now, take for granted that we're not going to paint this whole fender. What we're going to do when we paint this, we're going to start here. We'll go like this. Do you see what I'm doing? And then I will just continue to go, but I'm not going to paint down here. I'm just going to let the paint blow down there, and I'm going to show you that as we go. So let's go ahead and get our 2 full wet coats on, and then we're going to blend into that. And we also got a little blend spot down on the bottom, remember? Alright, now that we got our 2 coats, full wet coats of paint applied to our vehicle, what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and remove this, just like this, nice and easy. Now we know there's no paint on the bumper cover itself, but I want you to look really, really close at that, and you can see that it's day and night. So once I get done blending this, that will bring us to the opposition that it is going to match, kind of like the top of our fenders here. Remember, I painted the top, but I didn't paint the bottom. So on our next blend, on our next final coat of paint, we will blend the paint into the bumper cover, and then on the fenders itself, we'll bring the paint out a little bit this way, where it will fall on that ridge. So what we want to do is pay attention to how I use my spray gun to blend the paint into the surrounding panels. we got all 3 full wet coats of paint on, I did my final blend on the front bumper. Let's go ahead and look at it now. And you can see where I actually blended into it. Now, that's because we got brand new fresh paint versus original paint. Once I put the clear on, it'll all melt together. I can't blend this whole bumper. I can't clear coat this whole bumper, so I got to blend the clear into the bumper cover. Let me go ahead and get my clear on. Once we get all the clear, we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how to melt the clear into the existing panel that we cannot clear coat all the way, and that's our front bumper.
We got our first coat of clear on. I forgot to do one thing, and that was to remove the tape off of the red pinstriping. Let's go look at that. You can see where I removed it, so I can bury the pinstripe in the clear, because we had to tape it off due to the fact that we didn't want to get paint on the hand pinstriping. You can also see where I blended the clear. You can see that I blended it basically the same way. So look how dull it is down here. We'll do the same thing on the next 2 coats that I apply. And I also removed the green tape off of the pinstriping, so I will put that underneath the clear coat on the next round.
Okay, I went ahead and applied the last coats of clear. You can see it came out really, really nice. Look at this. Now we will have to color sand and buff this. We will have to color sand and buff it, and that's because of the blends and all the other stuff that was going on. But I'm going to show you how to melt the clear into our blend job when you don't want to clear the whole panel, such as our bumper cover. So the first thing we want to do is we want to come down here where the tape is, and we want to peel this back, just like this. We're going to peel that back just enough to get it down where we need to have it. And I'm going to bring it down to here. You see how I'm doing this? And then over on this corner here, we're going to bring this way out here like that. And we're not going to tape it back down. We're just going to let it kind of hang there loosely open. Just like this. We're not going to touch it. So now we have it nice and loosely open, just like you saw right there. And then what the trick is we're going to go ahead and dump our clear out of the paint cup. We're going to dump it out just like that. And we're going to leave the residue inside the paint cup. We're going to go ahead and take our reducer that we used for our paint. We're going to pour it in there with the residue, just like that. Give it a little shake. And then wherever we blended the paint, where we can't paint the full panel, we're going to go ahead and spray that area very vigorously with our reducer. And then what that'll do, that will let the paint melt into the original paint, and it all blends together as one. You can see the paint matched really nice. Can't even tell it was painted. Can you see that?
Yep.
So we blended the top of that fender into the hood, and you can see it matches really good there. And then over here, and I'm going to take this off, we had to blend the paint into the top of this bumper. And then if you remember correctly, I went ahead and took my reducer with the residue in, and we blended that down into here so you don't see any tape lines. Do you see that?
Yep. Looks just like normal.
So the way that we're going to neuter that situation, come on over here. We're going to get a piece of 1500, and then we're going to take a flex block, We're not going to use the blue block. Blue block is very hard. And that's what I'm using on the hood right here. Alright, because I want to break this down real quick. So we're going to go ahead and use the flex block on the bumper where we blended. And then I'm going to use minimal water. And then I'm going to just sand that down, just like that. And now there, remember, this is where we used our reducer. This is where we blended the paint. We melted the paint, the new paint, into the old paint. So remember, we didn't paint down here. We only painted to this line. So now that we got that sanded, ready for a quick buff action, what I'll do is I'll finish the hood, and Minnie's going to do the roof, and then we're going to get the fenders, then we'll buff everything out, and we'll take a look at the final product. You can see we got the car buffed out, ready to clean. I went ahead and saved the bumper. Remember, we blended in here. This is where we melted the paint in. So we're going to go ahead and use our rubbing compound. That's all we use. And then we're going to go ahead and buff this out. Now, what are you thinking?
Beautiful.
You can't ever tell that was blended. You can't tell it was painted. I showed you how to blend the fenders. Then you got to color. So of course you got to, any panel that you blend paint into, even if you clear coat the whole panel, you got to color sand it, because wherever the paint was blended, it's going to be a little rough. So it has to be buffed. All we did is go to this line right here. I blended the paint like this on my last coat of paint. Then I took my clear and I went like that, where it ended up about right in here. Then I came back with my reducer and laid it on very heavy to melt everything together. You don't see no peeling, you don't see no lines, you don't see anything but a perfect blend job for the collision repair that we did on this car. Okay, this job's done. Can you catch the light there? You can see everything matches really good. And the blend job came out great. Look at that. Okay. Fender's blended nice. Look at that. Can't even tell. And then, remember I told you about this splitting it off? Mm-hmm. Well, you can see it matches too. So everything looks great. The conclusion is you have to blend paint. There's nothing wrong with blending paint, as long as the person doing it is a professional and knows how to do it properly for you. If you've had a bad experience of blending and paint peeling off, that's probably because you took it to a cheap, inexpensive shop and wanted to save money. And when you're in the business for saving money, you're going to buy the cheapest materials you can, the cheapest paint supplies. Everything's going to be dirt cheap. You're going to be working in a dirt cheap rental shop and all this other stuff, and you're not going to get the high quality job you are taking it to a professional and actually getting it fixed properly. You can see the blend on this worked out perfect. I showed you how to do it from start to finish. What else did we show you? We showed you down here, look, where I painted that bumper. You can't even tell. So it all just blends in. Blending is a process that takes a lot of experience. Blending is a situation that practice makes perfect. I would not suggest, if you're a beginner at painting, do not blend into other people's cars. Learn how to blend paint into your own stuff.
It is technique, very intense
Very,
technique.
very intense when you blend. Another thing is when you blend from the hood into a fender, clear coat the whole panel. Don't just clear coat where you blended. Now, if you're going to do a roof pillar like over there, and you're going to blend from the fender up in, you can cut it off at the windshield post, fold your paper back, paint here, clear here, and then blend it in, instead of painting the whole quarter panel. But when it comes to major overlaps in panel painting, you need to clear coat the whole panel. This is Pete, my friend Pete, your friend Pete, showing you how to blend, telling you there's nothing wrong with blending, and don't be afraid of blending after you wrecked your car, as long as you take it to a place that knows what they're doing. Take it easy, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.